Alright, hey, HadesOmega here, and welcome to the after action review for the Full Send Racing Electric Supermoto race event at Apex Karting that took place in Perris, California at Apex Karting. Alright, it was on December 13th, 2025. So this race has actually been postponed from a race in November 15th, 2025. Alright guys, so on November 15th, HadesOmega had like 3 races he wanted to do that day, and I chose to go to this one, alright, because it was an electric supermoto race, alright. I've never raced against just electric supermotos, alright, I never raced in an electric supermoto race before, okay, so I wanted to do it, okay. I had a chance to do it in the month like a couple months before at Sonoma, but I didn't hear about it in time, and they said I could go, and then like yeah, so that's how I learned about this event, guys. Okay, so there's this they have these electric races they put on, and it's kind of like a combined event, and this is a very similar event. All right, guys. So they had electric unicycles, they had electric skateboards, and then they had e-bikes. Okay, is what they call them, and then e-motos. All right. For the event that I did, all right, and the one that I didn't do earlier was very similar to it, okay, and yeah, I asked them last second if I could do the event, and they said yes, and then I said like, okay, is that fine, and then they never got back to me, so I just went and raced a different race that was on the same day. Okay, guys, so that's a scoop for that. All right, I was kind of disappointed because Sonoma is closer than Bakersfield, and I've never done an electric supermoto race before. All right, so so fast forward to now. All right, guys, I signed up for this race. I heard about it through Travis. All right, Travis Console from he does all the E-Ride and Arctic. He's with CRC Racing. Okay, CRC Motorsports, and like they go to all these electric race events and stuff. All right. And he told me about it during the Electric Motocross World Championship this year. Okay, so and yeah, so Mike Metzger is a sponsor of it. That's who I heard about it also, and yeah, okay, so it turns out E-Ride Pro wound up being a sponsor for the race. Okay, and so they sponsored like 3 or 4 classes or something. I think when I initially looked at it, E-Ride wasn't gonna do it, or they weren't, they didn't sponsor it. And then after they sponsored it, all the classes just say E-Ride. Okay, guys. So all the e-bike classes just say E-Ride. All right. So they had like a kind of a pit bike class, like a lower power class, like a medium power class that was like I think 8 to 14 or 15 kilowatts, and then there's a high power class, 16 to 24 kilowatts, okay? So it was limited by power, okay, guys? And like, yeah, you could totally sandbag. I don't think there's anybody teching the bikes, or they know that this bike has this much power, Like my bike, I can easily turn the power up or turn the power down just by changing the modes, all right, guys? So like, yeah, or I can just use my phone, all right? I just log onto the controller, and then I change the settings in the controller, okay? So that's a scoop with that, all right, guys? So there was nobody really checking to see like how much power you were running, okay? So if you were running a higher power bike in a lower power class, then that could happen, okay, guys? So somebody could be like have a cheater bike type of thing, okay? It's hard to enforce, is what I'm gonna say, all right? Especially with the e-bikes and stuff, all right? So yeah, so they postponed this race from November 15th because it rained a whole lot, all right? And like I mentioned, there was 3 races that day that I wanted to go to, and all of them canceled, all right, guys? They all got canceled and postponed. So good thing for HadesOmega, because I did the race on December 13th, the full send race, and then I'm gonna do the SM Championship the next weekend, right? December 20th. All right, so next weekend I got another race. So, and then that'll be it for HadesOmega's racing season. All right, HadesOmega is actually working for UPS right now during the peak season, and I would rather be focusing on working and making money than racing motorcycles right now. Okay, guys, I've never raced motorcycles in December. It's never happened to me ever in my racing career so far. Okay, guys. I mean, I suppose that it could happen. All right. But yeah, so it is December and it is colder. All right, guys. In San Jose, where I live, it's just foggy all day, like 40, 50, 60 degrees. The sun comes out for maybe an hour and then it goes away and hides behind the fog again. All right, we've had these crazy fog days in California, all right, but not in Perris, California, all right? If you guys don't know where Perris, California is, it's in San Bernardino, and I think it's in San Bernardino County, all right, as I want to say. It's in that, you know, kind of east, yeah, it's in that kind of East LA area, yeah? Yeah, somewhere around there. So I just call it SoCal, all right, guys? It's in SoCal, and it's warmer in SoCal, thank goodness, all right? So, sorry, I'm going to talk about my prep to the bikes, and then my trip there, all right? So AAR is what was supposed to happen, what really happened, and things that we could do to improve in the future, all right? So what was supposed to happen, we're going to race this full send event. They were pretty adamant and that if it was going to rain, we were still going to race, all right? But it was like torrential downpour, and there's like just getting to the racetrack was dangerous, all right, guys? There was roads flooding and all that stuff and evacuation orders, so they had to cancel it. So fast forwarded to December, and HadesOmega got a new fork for the Light Me, all right? And I got a new rear wheel for the Light Me, all right? So it's already past Black Friday, and during Black Friday, I buy a bunch of parts for my bikes that I think I'm going to need for the next year of racing, all right? And so I bought a Manitou Dorado Pro fork, all right? That's versus the Expert fork that I had before. I wanted to stick with the Dorado fork because I know it pretty well, all right? But this time I went with the Pro. The Pro, so there's some things about the Pro that that there's some issues with, all right, but I got it for $900. It's literally like less than half the price of the original, the MSRP. Okay, guys. So yeah, but I wanted to try it out. All right, for $900, I can try it. All right, but the main thing is it has a carbon fiber body. All right, the upper legs are carbon fiber. And it's not e-bike certified. That's the important one, right? The Expert is e-bike certified, so it's made to handle the extra weight. So I don't know if this fork is going to break or not. We'll see. Hopefully not. All right. So the race was a supermoto race, all right, with asphalt and dirt. Okay, guys. So we would be doing jumps and all that stuff, all right, and that would be the downfall of this bike, all right. So, but it's not because of the fork, all right, guys. So it's because of the wheel, all right? So I got a new wheel, all right, guys? I actually got 2 new wheels, all right? I bought a front and rear wheel set because I wanted a beefier, I wanted stronger hub and spokes for my wheels, for my front wheel, because I got these stronger brakes, okay? So that's a scoop on that, but I haven't installed the front wheel yet. I just wanted to do the rear wheel so I can test out that Dunlop Moto3, and also my KR448 slick has this big gash, or it's like a cut that goes across the wheel, and it gets worse and worse every race. And I'm like, man, I wonder how many more races I get with this tire before it just completely falls apart. All right, guys. So I said, like, yeah, let's just change that. All right. So for the longest time, HadesOmega has wanted to run the full Dunlop Moto3 slick setup. All right, guys. So I've got the Dunlop Moto3 front and the rear tire. So HadesOmega will no longer be running the same size tires front and rear, and HadesOmega will no longer be flipping the rear tire, right? Yeah, I had some funky setup last time, man. Yeah, I had the front tire and I flipped it, and this one I had the front tire and you don't flip it, okay? So, but yeah. But it was the same tire. Actually, it was fine. It was fine for the longest time, is what I want to say. But I wanted to try the Moto3 setup, and the last time I bought a set of wheels, they didn't have Warp 9 Racing didn't have 17 by 2.5. Okay, so this one is a 17 by 3 is what I found out. Okay, so they came out with a 17 by 3 wheel or rim size for this bike, and then so I bought it. All right, so I could run this Dunlop Moto3 setup. And And I already bought a Warp 9 sprocket from Redshift, right? So I had bought this controller, right? The EBMX X. No, it wasn't this one. It was the one on the WR250, right? It's not in the garage right now. So the controller for the WR250, I got a bunch of points for purchasing it from them. So I used those points to buy a sprocket. Okay, guys. So I bought a Warp 9 sprocket from them, and I broke it this race. Okay, guys. And I'll tell you how that happened. All right. We'll get there. All right, guys. And then so that was pretty much it. I installed the new fork and then the new wheel. All right, guys. And then okay, so I brought 4 batteries, guys. Okay. Because I have 4 batteries. I figure, hey, let's go take them, and let's give them some exercise. I haven't ridden the bike for like a month or something, all right? So I brought the small and the large Lightspeed Bikes battery, all right? One of them is a 30 amp hour, and then the other one is a 32 amp hour, all right? And then I brought my Qi Gladiator Compact 72 battery, boom, right there, right? The taller one, and then I brought the Pulsar battery. Similar specs between both batteries, right? But similar, but not quite similar, especially in the size department. Okay, guys, it's much shorter than the compactor, which kind of gave me problems with the bike. But I won't get into that. All right, so another thing is I've been having problems with this compact battery. I haven't been able to charge it ever since the last race. All right. So one cold night, it rained in Nevada. All right, HadesOmega was at Desert Park Raceway, and I'm trying to freaking charge this battery, and it won't charge. All right, this one right here. So and then I realized that, oh, it kind of rained a little bit. It's just everything's really wet in the morning. All right, so I thought maybe something happened to the battery. It's not charging. So and then later it started charging again. So I said, okay, whatever. Maybe just something was up. All right. And then, so for since then, all right, guys, I haven't been able to charge this battery, all right, because the weather got colder, okay, guys. So I'm trying to charge this battery for the race, and it won't work, all right. But it will charge my other batteries, so it's not the charger's fault, all right, guys. And I've been going back and forth with Qi Battery, trying to figure it out, and they're telling me to do this, do that. They think it's the charger, but I'm like, it can't be the charger because the charger charges my other batteries, you know. And yeah, so that's a scoop. So like later I found out that it's the temperature is the problem, right? So there's something wrong with probably the temperature sensor and for the BMS or something. For whatever reason, at like around 60 degrees Fahrenheit, it will not charge the battery, right? It thinks the battery's too cold and it won't charge it. I think you can charge the battery close to freezing, all right, guys. At least I could my old Sauron batteries, all right. You should be able to charge the battery close to freezing temperatures, and it should be okay, all right. But ideally, you probably want to charge it at room temperature, okay, guys. But 60 degrees is not that cold, guys. It's cold, but not that cold, all right. It gets much colder in other places in the United States, guys. But yeah, okay. So I found out the next day when I was at the racetrack, all right, guys. So I'll talk about that right now first. All right, so oh yeah. So HadesOmega signed up for this race. All right, originally, remember, it was November, is when the race was supposed to be, and it was not a cheap race. All right, I don't know if I want to do this again because it was so expensive. All right, so it was supposed to be on November 15th at Apex Racing Center in Perris, California. All right, like I mentioned, that's in that San Bernardino area of Los Angeles. I just call everything Los Angeles, guys, all right? Just like how everything in the South Bay is San Jose to me, all right, guys? So I signed up for two classes. I signed up for the E-Moto Open Moto class and the E-Ride Pro, Amateur, I guess it says AM. 16 kilowatt to 25 kilowatts, all right? And HadesOmega's bike is somewhere like in the 20 kilowatts, all right, guys? Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention also. So this is the first race I raced with the EBMX XLB60 core motor. All right, guys. So I bought one of them. Did I buy it for Black Friday? No, I think I forgot. I think I just bought it. All right? I just bought it because I wanted to try it out for next year. And then we still have these races, so this is a good time to test this motor out. All right, guys. So this is the the very first race that we're racing with this XLB60 core motor. Okay, so yes, I had the new motor, I had the new fork, and a new rear wheel. All right, with the Dunlop Moto3 rear tire. All right, so it's a 115 width tire versus the 90 width tire, or the one I was running a 110 before. So we went from a 110 to 115. Small difference, but the rim is wider. Okay, guys, so it's a more proper profile. Okay, guys. Okay, so yeah, pretty expensive race. $120 to race the E-Moto class and $100 to race the E-Ride Pro class. All right, pretty expensive. All right, HadesOmega's gotten used to like $70 a class, and then they give you a discount if you do more of it. There was like some kind of early bird discount where it was like $80 a class or something. All right, so it would have been like cheaper, okay, guys. But in total, it wound up being like $222. All right, because they charge some kind of service fee. All right, man. They nickel and dime you a lot in these races, okay, guys. So I'll kind of go over that. That's one of the things HadesOmega was not happy about this race, was that HadesOmega had to pay a lot of money to race it, okay, where I can have just raced another race for less money, okay, guys. Like the same day, on that day that canceled, the race would have been like $80 for 2 classes if I race SM Championship, all right? Yeah, you have to pay $50 to get in though, but it still winds up being cheaper, like by almost half, all right? And then I could have raced I was going to race a hair scramble race with the WR250. That was only like $50, okay, guys? So yeah. So if it's one thing I'm complaining about the full send racing, don't get me wrong, it was a cool event, all right, guys. I already tell you that now, all right. But it was kind of too expensive. I can understand it costs a lot of money to rent the track, and then you have to get a certain amount of people to race and all that stuff, and then the trophies cost a lot of money. Okay, that's another thing. All right, so that's a scoop, guys. HadesOmega is not happy with the amount of money I'm paying, right? So remember this: HadesOmega is already $220 in the hole. Okay, guys, that's a lot of money to go racing. All right, guys. Typically, usually HadesOmega will spend around $200 to do racing. All right, for like a weekend of racing. All right, so I mean, it's on the more expensive side. Okay, guys. And HadesOmega just complains about the cost of racing all the time, okay, guys. And entry fees is a big part of it, all right, guys. But the promoters got to make a money somehow, right? Okay, so yeah. So that's the cost to enter these 2 classes, okay, guys. So HadesOmega race in the most powerful e-bike class, all right, and the e-moto class, all right, with the Redshift, all right. So I hadn't really done anything to the Redshift, all right. I've been racing it this way the whole year. I put a fresher rear tire, but I've got a couple races on it, all right. And I dumped it a bunch of times at Moto Beach Classic because they freaking watered the track, man, and I got slick tires. What do you expect, dude? And I kind of busted the horn button and the mirror on it, okay? So I don't know what it is. HadesOmega always crash on the left side of the bike on this bike, okay, guys? Anyway, so yeah, we got the Redshift and then we got the light meter, right? And so also HadesOmega has I've never raced at Apex before, but I've been there twice already. So this is going to be my 3rd time going there, and this time is going to be my first race there, okay, guys? I've never raced there. It's a pretty cool facility, right? It's a pretty well known track in California, is what I want to say, okay? And SoCal has a lot of really good, talented racers, and they go there, okay, guys? And that's no exception for this event, all right, guys? All right, so also Mike Metzger, all right? I met Mike Metzger. If you guys don't know him, he is like they call him the godfather of freestyle motocross, okay, guys? So I met him at the Electric Motocross World Championships, and when I went to Apex the next day. So I actually raced against him, and then I rode with him the next day on the track. All right, guys. So yeah, it's pretty nuts, right? And yeah, so I kind of know the dude now. He's pretty cool guy. All right. And so he was sponsoring a team. He was one of the sponsors for the event, and he was sponsoring a team to go out there and race too. Okay. So he's just trying to promote supermoto racing in that neck of the woods type of thing, all right? Metzger School of Moto, all right, guys. Remember that, all right? He has a Supermoto racing school, all right? Anyway, so so that's a scoop. Lots of talented racers, all right? Okay, so HadesOmega loaded up all his stuff on the battle trailer. HadesOmega is hoping to have a new. So I'm working. My winter project, guys, is supposed to be. I'm going to build a new trailer. All right, guys. If you guys don't know, HadesOmega moves all his bikes on. If I have to move more than one bike, all right, guys, like 2 bikes, like these 2 bikes, I have to bring a trailer. Okay, I can't just put 2 bikes on a freaking carrier and then strap it to the back of my RAV4. Okay, guys, it's not that heavy duty. All right, it's not a pickup truck or like some big heavy hauling truck with a bomb-proof hitch. All right. Anyway. So I need the battle trailer to get it over there, and HadesOmega had a bunch of problems with tires blowing out on the battle trailer this year. Okay, guys. So I said that's it, enough. I'm gonna buy a freaking new trailer. I think HadesOmega is must be overloading the trailer or something. I don't go faster than 60 miles an hour with it either. So, but it's got these teeny tiny little tires. I said no more. I want like some bigger, meatier tires on my trailer now. I want a heavier duty trailer. Okay, HadesOmega has a Harbor Freight folding trailer, right? So, so I didn't know if we were gonna make it there, but good thing we did. All right, so we drove over there. I shit you not, man. It was all fog and cold weather up until we got to Bakersfield. All right, guys, and then when you go up the Grapevine, all right, that's the mountain range you have to go over to get into the Los Angeles, all right, area. It warmed up like 20 degrees, all right. It went from literally went 50 degrees, whoop, to like 70, like 80 degrees, all right, guys. Yeah, it went up like 30 degrees, man. It was insane. I never seen that before, all right. But yeah, it was crazy. And then so I looked at the forecast, and it was gonna be highs of 80. And then lows of like 44, all right? So it's going to be cold at night, but it's going to be warm in the daytime, all right? So that's perfect racing weather for me. So I said, oh, it's going to be a leathers kind of race, all right? If anything, it was the weather conditions were very similar to the conditions at the Moto America Mini Cup qualifier round in Sonoma, all right, that I did earlier this year. Exact same weather, all right? It was cold in the morning, and then it got really warm in the day, and then it started to cool down in the afternoon right away, all right? So yeah, that's exactly how the weather was like on the race day. But anyway, we made it there, all right? It was like a 7-hour drive, and there's no place for me to stay in SoCal. So that's another one of my complaints about going to races in SoCal. I don't know where to stay when I get there, all right, guys? They put out in an email, the Full Send Racing series said that you can camp at the track for $30, okay, guys? So I was like, man, $30? That's kind of a lot, but not really. I mean, but I've already spent a lot of money to do this race. Remember, guys, $220, all right, guys? So I get there, and I said, and I'm looking at my GPS, and I'm like, man, we're not going to get there until like 7 or 8. It takes like 7 hours to get there, all right, guys? That's literally what the GPS said, all right? And there was like 2 ways to get there, and the last way I took, my tire blew out, so I was like, man, I kind of don't want to go that way this time. So I went down to the southern route, all right? I went through LA instead of like around LA, all right, guys? And it took a long time, dude. The traffic is so bad in LA, guys, all right? HadesOmega is from the NorCal, all right? And SoCal traffic is so much worse than NorCal traffic, all right? We've got pretty bad traffic here, man, but SoCal, oh, it takes the cake, man. Every time, like anywhere, LA, San Diego, there's always traffic everywhere. Traffic and accidents, it's ridiculous, man. It's a good thing the NorCal hasn't gotten that bad yet, all right? We're getting there, but it's not that bad, all right? And just camp at the racetrack, all right? You'll be already there. You don't have to go anywhere in the morning, all right? So that's what I did. I mean, if you're trying to get people from out of town to go to your races, guys, all right, I want to tell you this now, all right? Race promoters, if you're trying to get people to come from out of town to go race at your events, you better give them a place to stay, okay? I just want to say, don't make them freaking pay to go camp, all right, guys? Or at least if you're gonna make them pay, don't make them pay like $30, man. That's a lot of money, all right, guys. But I can kind of understand, because in SoCal it's really hard to find a place to camp, all right, guys. It's freaking awful, all right. So HadesOmega paid $35 when I got there, all right, guys. I got there like at I think I got there around like 6 or 7, sometime around there. All right, and then I said hi to everybody, and then they told me it was like $35 to camp. All right, the email said $30, and so but they charged me $35. I was like, oh, okay, it's more expensive than what the email says. I should have told them. I should have called them on that. Hey, on the email it says it's $30 to camp. How come it's $35 now? So yeah, they hecka nickel and dime me on this race, okay, guys. So remember, $220 plus $35. All right. So now I'm like I'm like $260 in the hole. All right, because remember the $2 service fee. Let's just round up to $260, okay? And then, so the good thing was I could set my pit up. I can get everything all set up for the next day. All right. There was Mike Metzger was there. And then early in the morning, E-Ride Pro came and they brought like a shit ton of bikes, man. E-Ride Pro definitely was sponsored the event, all right? They brought like a ton of bikes, all right, guys? Yeah, it's pretty crazy. All right, so yeah, I set up the pit, all right? And I got ready for the next day. The good thing is there's some power in the pits, all right, guys? Apex has some pretty nice facilities, is what I want to say, and they have power. They actually have running water and toilets and all that stuff, so it makes camping there not so bad. The majority of their parking lot is all dirt, though. All right, I don't like pitting in the dirt, but you can take your stuff from the dirt and move it, to where the pit areas are inside. All right, so there's a nice asphalt pit area, and then there's the parking lot that's all dirt. All right, guys. So I luckily I was there before everybody else, and I was able to kind of get everything situated already. All right, so I was on the asphalt, okay, guys. So all right, so I got everything all set up. I was planning to maybe use some power to run some stuff, and then use the generator. So I did take the generator with me, all right, just in case I didn't have enough power. And I just wish I used the generator the whole time. All right, guys. Okay, so here's the plan for the racing. All right, guys. This is what's supposed to happen. All right, what HadesOmega is planning for the E-Ride Pro race. All right, the e-bike race. HadesOmega. Remember, HadesOmega is racing 16 kilowatt to like 25 kilowatts. Okay, so fast e-bikes. All right, guys. So so we're and HadesOmega's got. I got the stuff on the bike to keep up with the fast bikes. All right, hopefully at least. All right, but HadesOmega is going up against the Altis, Ultra B. All right, guys. These are like some of the hottest bikes out right now. All right, guys. I'm pretty sure they had probably an E-Ride Pro SR out there, man. Yeah, man. The SR is like a 20-something kilowatt e-bike. All right, guys. The Altis is like a 22 kilowatts. All right. So yeah, all these bikes were fast. All right. Anything 20 kilowatts that's this size is fast. Okay, guys. That's what I want to say. All right. Now, granted, those bikes are actually bigger than this. All right. I would call this a light e-moto, and those are like medium-sized e-motos. Okay, guys. The Ultra B and the Altis Sigma. Yeah, man. So here's the plan. So we had for each class you get a practice, you get a heat race, and then you get a main race. All right. So you get three events. All right. So but I brought 4 batteries just in case. All right. And so the plan was if there's going to be open practice after the races, if I still had a battery with charge in it, I would just throw it in the bike and I'd spin a couple of laps to discharge it. All right. Because you don't want to leave batteries fully charged. Right. So that's a scoop. Okay, so this is how the race format works. All right, for these guys. All right, full send racing for this event. So it's going to be a supermoto race for all the motorcycles. All right, so it's going to be asphalt and dirt. All right, because Apex has an asphalt and a dirt section. All right, I've got to ride it earlier this year. Okay, you get a practice in the morning. All right, and then you get a qualifying round. All right, and then you get a heat race, and then you get a main race. All right, so the practice is just practice. The heat is a timed practice. All right, it's like a timed practice, but it's qualifying. All right, so your fastest time grids you for the heat race. All right, and then your position in the heat race grids you for the position in the main race. All right, guys. So that's how that works. All right, and then so I use the small Lightspeed Bikes battery. Okay, because it's not it doesn't have a bad cell in it like the big battery does. I use that for practice. All right, because I don't really need a lot of power for practice. And then for the qualifying, I use the Gladiator compact battery. Right, because that one doesn't have like a full charge because I haven't been able to charge it. But it's got some charge in it, and it's one of my race batteries, right? It gives me the full power. And then I would use the Pulsar in the heat race, and then I would either charge the compact battery, if I could charge it, or run the Pulsar battery, right? Because another thing is we don't want the batteries to get too hot. That's why it's nice to have two batteries. You can swap them so they don't get too hot, all right? Because if the battery overheats during the race, your race is over, right? Because your bike just stops, okay? And then for the main race, yeah, we'd figure out which battery we're going to use. All right, okay. And yeah, HadesOmega has four batteries, but two of them are not race batteries. All right, so we want to use the race batteries for the qualifying, the heat, and the main races. Okay. Okay. So yeah, it's nice having two race batteries. and then the Redshift, I would have to keep the charge up throughout the day. All right, but so this is what happens. Okay, guys. This is what really happened, all right? So I got the pit all set up. I got the warmers in there. So, and during the riders meeting, I asked them, hey, so what about the E-Moto class? And you're the only one that signed up for it, bro. So apparently Merlin was the only one that signed up for the E-Moto class with the Redshift. They thought some Starks would show up and race, but none of them showed up, unfortunately. All right, nobody had any full-size motorcycles. All right, so that's a scoop there. So automatically I get number one. All right, guys. So that's basically what happened, guys. So I paid like $120 to race against myself. All right, guys, basically, but not really. Okay. So what wind up happening with the Redshift is I go out for a practice. I do the qualifying, and then I race a heat race, but I don't race the main race. They didn't want me to race the main race because they live streamed the main races, okay, and they thought it would be kind of funny if HadesOmega was there with the big bike racing with the little bikes, okay, guys. So they were going to put me in with the fast e-bike class, but I'm racing this one in the fast e-bike class. So they put me in the medium power class. All right, remember there's like a pit bike class, and then there's like a medium power class, okay, guys. So they stuck me with the medium power class. That's 8 to 16 kilowatts. All right, guys, still pretty zippy. That's what I say. All right, anything more than 10 kilowatts with a size like this is pretty fast. All right, guys. Yeah. Okay. So that's a scoop, guys. And then so yeah, we were just gonna race the light B. Okay. So here's what happens. All right, guys. I go out for a practice on the Redshift, and immediately as soon as I take off, I was trying to pass the bike that was in front of me, trying to get in front of it so I can go out and practice. And the rear tire just spun when I goosed it, and the bike spun out, and I got yeeted off the bike. All right, guys, basically that's what happened. The bike spun around. I think I landed on my knees, and I slid on the asphalt on my knees for a little bit, and then I did a back roll. All right, guys. So yeah, I got pretty banged up pretty bad. My bike went flying, and yeah, it sucked, man. And then they had to yellow flag the track, and they had to get me out, pick me up off the ground and everything. I had a big hole in my race suit, so HadesOmega was wearing his leather suit. I guess it's a good thing I did. I don't know if it would have been better with my dirt bike gear, because I think the knee pads are stronger on the dirt bike gear. Anyway, I got a little bit of road rash. All right, guys. I wouldn't even call it that road rash. It's just a little scrape. All right, guys. So nothing really bad. But I'm sure my knees are bruised up pretty bad. Okay, guys, both of them are bruised up pretty bad. But I got up. I think I kind of tweaked my neck a little bit too. Like I get this really tight muscle here now. All right. But other than that, I got back up and I rode on the track with the Redshift. So during the practice, I noted, man, the tires don't fucking hook up at all, man. Like, I feel the front tire sliding, the back tire sliding. I was like, and it's cold, okay? It's the morning, guys, all right? It's cold. It was like probably like 50, 60 degrees or something, somewhere around there, all right? And, but HadesOmega thought he had warm tires. That's why, okay, guys? So I had the tire warmers on the bike. I knew it. It was cold. I want the tire warmers on the bike, so it's, you know, it's a safety thing, right? And well, obviously, it wasn't very safe because the breaker blew on my I had the well, so this is what happens when I came back after the practice, all right? Eventually the tires warmed up, and yeah, I felt a little more comfortable, but I was like, yeah, the bike is all messed up and everything. Yeah. So the bike did get messed up a little bit. All right, guys. I grabbed down that rear slider, axle slider. The front axle slider just bent upward, and then there's a huge on the handguard. There's a huge huge chunk of it that just scraped off. All right, guys. That's the scoop there. All right, and so check out these pictures. Okay, did you get that? Yeah, man. Pretty bad. Like for right out of the gates. All right, that's not the way you want to start a morning. All right, guys. That's funny because the exact same happened to that happened to my buddy Eric during the Sonoma Moto America qualifier race, man. The mini qualifier. Yeah, the same thing happened to him, man. It was cold and his rear tire just slipped out from under him, and yeah, so. You got to be careful when it's cold and make sure your tires get warm, right? So, but anyway, so what happened was when I came back to the pits, I was like, that's weird. How come the tires are cold? They should have more grip than that. I had them on the warmers for like a long time. Then I go back and I check the blower fan. All right, I don't have it handy with me, but the blower fan has a breaker on it. All right, guys, and I look at it and I was like, that's weird. It's hooked up to the fan. The fan is working. But for some reason the warmers aren't on, and I look at the breaker, and the breaker popped. All right, it has this little black cylinder thing that sticks out right when it's popped, and I press it back in, and the warmers turn back on. So somehow I overloaded the freaking the warmers. Okay, guys, the breaker for where the warmers were connected for that bike. So when I took the tire warmers off, I had gloves on, so I can't really feel the tire to see if it was warm. You know, I'd imagine the warmers warmed the tire up a little bit, because when you take the warmers off, you can smell it. You can smell the rubber. All right, guys. And it must have heated up the tire a little bit, and then the breaker popped. Okay, guys, I don't know how it popped. All right, maybe I plugged something else into it or something, but yeah, that's what happened. And then yeah, I got yeeted off the bike. All right, guys. So next time, HadesOmega, just hook it up straight to the freaking generator, man. I should have just used the generator in the first place, all right? But I was trying to play magical plugs, all right? So I had one of the bikes on the plugged into the outlet, and then one of the bikes plugged into the generator, all right, guys? And I have to bring more extension cords and power cords and stuff with me when I go to races, man. I'm always short extension cords and stuff, so I'm always gonna do that, all right, guys? So bring extra stuff just in case there's power, all right? Anyway, so. Then we go out on the light bee, all right, for practice, and I think I practice did pretty good, all right. Like the tires were actually warm on this bike, all right. But yeah, it's still pretty greasy, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the only one that went down out there because of cold tires, all right, guys. I saw a couple guys they went down because it was the bike spun out from underneath them. Okay, so that's what happens, man. It sucks, dude. So when I come back, I notice, well, yeah, when I'm putting the tire warmers on, I notice, I'm looking at the rear sprocket, I'm like, that's weird. How come the chain looks like it's rubbing on my swing arm? And I look at the sprocket, and it's bent. All right, guys? I just installed a brand new Warp 9 sprocket, and I bent it somehow. I don't know how I did it. I didn't crash the bike, but I did take it on the dirt course, all right, and I jumped it I was jumped in and I was hitting those jumps not very good. All right, guys. I had a couple where the back wheel just boom, just hit the ground really hard. All right, it hit the lip of the second jump. I didn't clear it. All right, basically is what happened, and I think that's what happened. It bent that sprocket. All right, I don't know any other way that sprocket could have got bent. All right, and then so I borrowed a hammer from Mike Metzger. All right, so shout out to Mike Metzger. He hooked me up with a hammer, and I was able to straighten my sprocket. All right, guys. I looked at the sprocket and I'm like, okay, it looks crooked right here. I'm gonna hit it right here. Bang, bang, bang. All right, and I bent the sprocket back in. All right, and then so when I went out for the qualifying, you know, I went out and I rode as hard as I could again. I was like, all right, maybe it won't bend again. And sure enough, it freaking bent again. All right, guys. I don't know what it is. HadesOmega's bending sprockets with this rear wheel. All right, because a month earlier I was at Apex and I was doing the dirt section with this bike and I wasn't bending sprockets. So I think it could be the sprocket. All right, maybe that sprocket is no good. All right, guys. So HadesOmega is not going to use Warp 9 sprockets anymore. All right, guys. I always have bad luck with them, man. What can I say? HadesOmega was running, oh, here we go, it's right here. I was running a Tusk sprocket, right? This is a Tusk sprocket after I broke my Warp 9 one, right? So, yeah, I had it on there for like the longest time, and then yeah, so, well, I don't know. Well, I'm going to go back to the Tusk one, and hopefully we won't be bending sprockets again, all right? Because we didn't bend it with the other wheel, all right? So I don't know why this one bent, all right, guys? Maybe it was just some kind of freak accident where the chain jumped off or something and then it bent the sprocket or something. I don't know, guys. Yeah, so what wound up happening, guys, is I had to nurse the bike the rest of the day, alright? So I would go back, hit that frickin' sprocket and straighten it out again, and then at some point it started cracking, okay? The sprocket started cracking. I was like, oh shit, if this sprocket cracks or just breaks apart, it's going to be bad, man. You're going to fuck your wheel up and you're going to have a bad day. You just bought that wheel. I don't want to mess it up, alright? So yeah, and HadesOmega does have this funky sprocket setup where I have a spacer on it. Alright, so HadesOmega has this funky sprocket setup where I have a spacer on the two sprockets, okay, the counter sprocket and the rear sprocket. I have a spacer to shift it over to the right so I can have a wider tire, alright, guys? And it's not working out too well for me, alright, guys? But here's the scoop, guys. I don't know, maybe I might just take that off. That's what I'm thinking. I might just take that off for the, when I redo the drivetrain. I might just go with the regular sprocket, guys. Because when I got this rear wheel, it was dished to the left a whole lot. So much so, it was touching the brake line. So I had to move it back a little bit. So now the wheel is the tire is between the chain and the brake line, all right? So, but it was so much to the left, it was touching the brake line. I was like, oh, I don't want that. I don't want the wheel to be off center. I want it to be in the center of the bike, or else the bike will handle funny, right? So yeah, I undished the wheel. Was basically what happened there. Okay, so another thing is this is a brand new wheel, so I had to check the tightness of the spokes every time, right? So I thought maybe that might be causing the sprocket to bend or something, but no, I don't think so. So every time I came back, like after practice, I checked the spokes, alright? And sure enough, maybe there was like a handful of spokes that needed some tightening, just a little bit, nothing crazy, alright? Nothing more than a quarter turn is what I want to say, okay? And you're supposed to do that when you have a brand new wheel. You're supposed to ride it, torque the spokes, and then ride it again, and then torque the spokes again, alright? Because it has to seat the nipples in, okay? Is what's going on. And so I'm pretty sure by the end of the day I had seated all the nipples in, guys. So every time, practice, qualifying, heat race, I would whenever I put it back on the stand, I would bust out the torque wrench and check them all again, alright? It only takes like a minute, alright? And every time it got less and less, alright, is what I'm going to say. Like the most was like the first time, and then the second time maybe like 3 or 4 spokes needed just a little bit of tightening, and then by the end, not really any tightening at all, okay? I'll probably check it one more time, is what I'm going to say. Alright, but anyway, So yeah, that's another thing I had to do at the track. It was so annoying, man. So this is why I don't like installing new parts before a race, all right? Because you know the old parts were good, all right? So yeah. So this is how it went for the light bead. Yeah, the light bead practice went pretty good, except I bent the sprocket, all right, guys. And then so we went out for qualifying on the Redshift. This time the tires were warm. Okay, guys, I made sure the freaking, I've been checking all the tire warmers all day, alright guys? And so the temperature is getting warmer too, okay? It was probably, by the time qualifying came around, it was about like close to like probably 70, almost 80 degrees, right? Remember, the highs are 80. Alright, and I'm getting hot in my freaking leathers, man, I'm telling you. I hate wearing leathers, man, it's because of the heat. They look cool, but they're not fun to wear, man. Especially in hot weather. So, the scoop is, I got first place in my heat race, alright guys? Yeah, I got first place in the qualifying for the mini bikes, at least for the heat that I was in. So I was grading first for the second heat, alright? So they split the classes up into 2 heats, alright, down the middle. And so there's a heat 1 and a heat 2, alright? And then they use that to grid for the final race, alright? And it's just everybody's in there, right? There's no last chance qualifier. If there's like hella bikes, then they would do that, right? But I don't think we had that many bikes. So HadesOmega was first in the second heat, and then I was third for qualifying on the for the light B class, all right, that I was in. All right, I was right in front of Grady Maples, okay, so I was gonna line up third for the heat race, all right. And then so we go and do and HadesOmega's like hammering that freaking sprocket the whole time, right? And eventually it cracks, all right? And I'm like, oh boy. Yeah, so by the time I rode it hard for the qualifying, and I said, the sprocket is starting to crack. I don't think you want to try to make it not bend so much, all right? So what I had to resort to doing is just roll all the jumps, all right, guys? That's what I did. I told myself no jumping. Or at least don't jump and land it really hard, okay? Or don't jump and hit the lip of the next jump, all right, guys? If you can't clear it, roll it, all right, basically. But at that point, I was like, no, just roll everything, all right? So that's what I did. I just tried to roll everything, all right? And well, as you can see, the chain and sprocket are still on there, guys. They're a little beat up, but yeah, it's still on the bike, all right? Alright, so here's the interesting thing about the heat race, guys. So I'm out there. So in the heat race for the E-Moto race, all right, remember they put me in with the medium powered bikes, okay, guys? And I'm like, man, I'm gonna kill these guys in the light B. And so I decide, okay, I'm gonna just kind of try to lap these guys, right? That's my goal. My goal is to try to lap these guys, because I mean it's like a real race, and I'm number 1. So we take off. And I get to the corner, I get the whole shot, all right? And then there's this guy, Austin, on an E-Ride, all right? I think I might have raced him before. I'm not 100%. I know him from the Electric MX World Championship race, all right, guys? I seen him race there before, all right? And so yeah, I get the whole shot. I'm doing fine until we get to the dirt, and he passes me. I was like, all right, I'll make it up with the power. And then there's this other guy, he passes me, alright? And he's on like knobbies, guys. He's on knobbies and he passes me. Like in the dirt he passes me, alright? The little bikes are actually better in the dirt because they're lighter, alright guys? But they don't like landing hard, okay guys? So we make it out onto the asphalt again after the dirt section, and I blow the guy away with the Redshift's power, okay guys? I just like yap him big time on the straight, but Austin is just out there way in the front. He's just killing it, all right? And then so also the races are only 3 laps, guys, all right? I forgot to mention that. The races are only 3 laps because they figure that's as much as the bikes can handle before 1, the brakes overheat, and 2, the batteries, the batteries overheat, the batteries or motors overheat. So HadesOmega is used to racing like full races, all right, guys, like 6 laps, 8 laps, somewhere around there, okay? And it's no big deal for me, but I'll tell you this, it's exhausting racing at Apex on the dirt. All right, guys, it's really exhausting. So I guess that's a good thing for me. Okay, and so it was kind of the same story the whole time. I thought I was gonna lap these guys, and they showed me out. All right, I never ever caught up to Austin the rest of the time. All right, guys, he was just way out ahead of me. I couldn't catch him with my big power on the asphalt, and then I forgot what the guy who he was wearing a Ducati leathers. All right, guys, and he was the guy with the knobbies on the E-Ride, and then there was some other guy. Oh, there was a guy with the light bee. Yeah, there was a guy with the light bee also. All right, he was from Alien Rides. Sorry, I didn't get his name, man. I think he told me his name, but if you tell me your name once, HadesOmega won't remember it. All right, unless you beat me in a race. All right, guys. But Austin sure beat me. All right, guys. So what happened was the same thing the whole time. I never caught up to Austin. Then the dude in the Ducati leathers with the knobbies, he would pass me on the dirt. He would honk at me, and I was like, okay, just pass. I would let him pass because technically I'm not really racing these guys. I'm just there for fun. All right, guys. And boy, was I having fun. I was actually racing against them, man. And then when we get back on the asphalt, I would pass them with my mad power, and then. But I wouldn't catch Austin. Austin was just like gone, man. That dude was so fast, all right, and yeah, so that's what happened. I got second place in the heat race, all right, guys. I got second place right behind Austin. I couldn't even touch that guy. Very impressive riding, Austin. If it was a 15 kilowatt E-Ride Pro, man, my guess it's a E-Ride Pro 3.0 or something. It can't be the SR. The SR is like a 20-something kilowatt. I'll put subtitle below, alright, guys. It's a 20-something kilowatt freaking E-Ride Pro, alright, guys. It's a fast mini E-Moto, alright, guys. And that's the one I would want too, the SR for Supermoto. And oh yeah, there was no Altus out there. It would have been interesting to race the Redshift against the Altus. Anyway, so okay, and then the heat race for the light B comes along, alright. So remember, I got third, alright, guys. I got third in the heat, so we're gridding up third. That means I'm on the first row, and then Grady's behind me in the second row. Okay, and then there's these two other guys in the front, and we take off. I think I was like, yeah, I think it was third the whole time. All right, guys. Those guys had got in front of me, and then yeah, I couldn't gap them at all. It's hard to launch against other electric bikes because you don't have that. You don't have that torque advantage against like gas mini bikes, man. Yeah, everyone's launch is really fast on the e-bikes, man. And yeah, so I wound up getting third place in that race. Okay, I was able to keep Grady right behind me. All right, so the one place that yeah, so Grady was racing with the Altus also, an Altus Sigma. All right, those are like 22 kilowatts, so it's pretty fast, but it's kind of a heavy bike. All right, and I was able to keep him behind me the whole time. Okay, he's not that good in the dirt, is all I'm gonna say. All right, I'm better. He's probably better on the asphalt, but I'm better. I have to be better on the asphalt too, man, because I have this freaking slick tires, and I have the big power, I guess, and the big brakes too. So probably HadesOmega had the best brakes out of everyone there. All right, but yeah, so I came in third for the heat race. All right. So I kind of we maintain our position in the heat race. Oh yeah, okay. I also forgot to mention, so after the qualifying, I left, or before the qualifying, I left a compact battery in the sun to warm it up, and then I was able to charge it. So I found out that it's the temperature that's causing the battery not to charge, okay guys? So when it's at like 60 degrees, it won't charge, but when it's like at 70 or 80 degrees, it charges. So that's the problem. I have to get the battery warm before it'll charge. All right. So for some reason, the temp sensor is going bad on that battery. Okay. Maybe I can mess around with the BMS to trick it to make it thing. All right. But I don't know. I will go ask Chai Battery what I can do about that. All right. Or we're just gonna have to put the battery in the sun whenever I want to go charge it. Basically. All right. Put a heater on it or a blanket. I don't know. So now my other batteries don't have that problem. So. Okay, so yeah, that was good. We solved that problem. All right, it's been plaguing me for like the whole week or two. I haven't been able to charge it. And then, so the next problem is we're going into the mains, all right? And HadesOmega's just hammering them sprockets in there, all right? HadesOmega, okay, so this is the thing. We're not going to race the Redshift in the main race for the mid-size e-motos, or the mid-size e-bikes, all right? We'll call it e-bikes. They're still motorcycles. Okay, guys? We're not going to do the main because they didn't want me to race. They didn't want to live stream it, okay? So I automatically get first place, all right, guys? There it is, guys. That's my participation trophy is what this is, all right, guys? I got a first place trophy. All right, but yeah, I automatically get first because I'm the only one that signed up for that race, unfortunately. All right, guys, I might as well ask for the trophy, man, because it has the date on it and everything. You can't like give it away any other. Plus, it has the date of the original race, November 15th, on it. It doesn't have the date. The day of the race is the December 13th date on it. That's okay. It's not a big deal. All right. And it's got this cool light up base. It lights up and everything. Check it out. I took a picture of it lit up. Okay, yeah, okay, so that's a scoop. We already won the e-moto race, and I had fun racing in the heat race, and we weren't going to race in the main race with the Redshift. Right? I think it would have been fun. I would have done it, but yeah, like I said, I was getting tired too. It was getting hot too. Okay, so when the heat races started, that was the peak heat of the day. All right, it was 80 degrees, and I'm just like, oh, I'm not feeling it, man. I feel tired. I don't want to watch anything, man. HadesOmega's not drinking enough water, you know, that type of thing, and I want to take these leathers off, man. Right? But the good thing is, when the main races came along, it cooled down a little bit. Right? It must have went down maybe like 5-10 degrees or something, and I was like, okay, it's kind of bearable with the leathers on now. okay, I shit you not. I took my dirt bike stuff with me, and I was like, I don't want to put my dirt bike stuff on, man. But everybody was wearing leathers. Like a good amount of people were wearing leathers, man. I'm surprised. I'm surprised people were wearing leathers the whole time, but I did it too anyway, so I didn't want to take them off, right? Oh yeah, so for the main race, HadesOmega decided I was gonna put the, so we just raced the heat race with the Pulsar battery, right? And it did great. It pulled like 24 kilowatts. That's a lot of power. That's pretty much the max limit for the race. Okay, guys. The compact battery, I was able to charge it, and I was like, you know what? If you can charge the compact battery up to like 90%, I would use the compact battery. Because after the Pulsar race, you heated this battery up, right? This one, I just used it for the qualifying, but then the problem is I'm charging it, it heats the battery up while it's charging too, right? So it's like, it's kind of like, eh. This one had less charge on it, so after the qualifying, it had even less charge, okay? Because I couldn't remember, I had the no charge problem with this battery. And then we were able to get it charging, so I was like, oh, okay, just leave it on the charger. And then I couldn't get this one up to the same level as this, all right? So this was at 80%, and then when that was charging, it was at 80%. And then this battery had already cooled down, so I said, man, just run the Pulsar battery. That's fine. Okay, we'll just run it at 80%. It'll be fine, all right, guys? So yeah, I graded 6, all right? Since I got third in the second heat race in the light beast class, I graded 6. Okay, so that's like on the back row on the inside. So the light turns off and we take off. Boom! All right, man. I was like in the back somewhere. I was in the back somewhere. There was a bunch of us. All right, I'll shit you not, man. In this class, they had like this is like an all-star race, man. They had Kensei Matsudaira. There's this kid named Jason J. Dill or something. That I was watching that kid ride earlier, and I'm like, holy shit, this kid is hella good. Right? And then I think Parker Pittman was racing with us. Grady Maples racing with us. A lot of fast racers were out there, guys. And then yeah, a bunch of guys from E-Ride, they were out there killing it, man. Alright, guys. So I was in the back, and then we go into the dirt, and there's just hella bikes in the dirt. You really can't do much, but just kind of just putt around in the dirt waiting for them to take off, you know. There's not a lot of places to pass in the dirt, sort of, kind of. And so I wound up behind Grady, all right. I think I was still in like around the 6th position or something. And then so there's a flat track section, all right, guys. There's a flat track section. and then there's this tight right-hander, and I hate it, man. It's so hard to get the bike turned around it because you just don't got enough speed going around the corner to get it to lock it up and slide it sideways and everything. So I did something I shouldn't have done, alright guys? I tried to steer with the handlebar and I tucked the front, alright guys? And I went off I flew off, I supermaned off the bike. I landed on both my knees again, man. Like my knees are hurting right now, guys. I'm not lying, dude. Okay, and then so that was pretty much the end of my race. All right, I got up. They're like, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm okay." I get right back up. You know, I think yeah, and then yeah, I just get back in there, but I'm already all the way at the back, guys. All right, so that's a scoop. And so I pretty much think I got last. I'm not really, they didn't really post the results for the race anywhere, man. But I think I got last in that race, man. I'm kind of disappointed. That's the one I was hoping, you know, we would have done good in. But hey, the Redshift got a first place trophy. All right, guys. I didn't really even have to race it, man. All right, but yeah, I paid $120 to race myself. I'm kind of not happy with that, also. Okay. So that's what really happened. All right, guys. And then so after I asked Mike Metzger. So here's a plug for Mike Metzger. Okay, guys. Mike Metzger is a really cool guy, and he has something called Mike Metzger's School of Moto. All right, guys. He'll teach you how to do. He'll teach you how to motocross. He'll teach you how to supermoto. You know, all that fun stuff. And he has a fleet of Altus Sigmas. Okay, guys. And so the Altus Sigma came out like a year ago, and I've never gotten to ride one before. Right? I think I seen somebody have one at the racetrack in Nevada. All right. I think what's his name? Burner. One of the Burner kids had one, and I was like, man, I kind of want to ride that. But I didn't want to ask him. But I asked Mike Metzger, because there were his fleet bikes, and he was trying to get people to ride them, right? So, and remember, he had his own race team, right? By the way, the guy that won that race was Kensei Matsudaira, okay, guys? He's a professional racer, okay, guys? I know it because I raced him a handful of times, and I know how fast he is. All right, and I follow him on Instagram, and I see him. He's racing in Europe and doing all this crazy stuff. All right, he's this kid racer that's super fast. Okay, and he's a professional racer. Okay, guys, and he won it. All right, and he was on Metzger's team. Okay, so there you go. I think it was Kensei, and then somebody named Trevor Stewart, and I forgot who the third place was. All right, guys, those are the podiums for that. All right. And I'm just way in the back somewhere, alright guys. I was in the back there, I was watching those guys ride the bikes. I was like, holy shit, these guys are fast, man. They're doing wheelies and stuff everywhere. They're just launching the jumps and everything. Yeah, man, these guys could ride, alright. The guys I was riding with were really good, alright. So hats off to them. You showed HadesOmega, man. Alright. And their bikes were fast. Like, I think the Light B was a good match for all the bikes out there, is what I'm going to say. If I rode it well enough, I probably could have won that race, all right? But that's just how it happens, okay? Oh, yeah. Also, we had to nurse the bike, all right, guys? That too, all right? No big jumps or anything, so that seriously slows me down on the dirt section, all right? And then, yeah, dumping it in the dirt section didn't help either, okay, guys? So there's that. I also had, you know what? I had another crash in the qualifying. I crashed the Redshift, the qualifying in the flat track section. So here's one thing I noticed about both these bikes. In the flat track section, the Redshift slides too much when you let go of the throttle because of the regen, and the Light B, when you use the regen throttle, it doesn't slide enough. That's what I'm noticing. It doesn't want to slide enough. It won't. The back won't kick out enough. And then the Redshift, you really, HadesOmega, you need to use the throttle, all right? Or what you could do is just use both brakes, because it's not a flat track bike. Maybe you should take some flat track lessons, HadesOmega, where you don't have to use the front brake. You don't use the front brake, you just use the rear brake, yeah. Use the rear brake, and then you just use the gas to slide it around, all right? So HadesOmega needs to practice that, but what HadesOmega does is I go really fast, and then I use the rear brake to pitch the bike sideways, and then I just slide it with the rear brake the whole way, and then I get back on the throttle, all right? But really what I should be doing is probably the same thing. Use the rear brake to initiate the slide, but then get back on the throttle right away, all right? Get off the region throttle, get back on the throttle right away, and then try to power slide your way through it, all right? So HadesOmega needs to practice that, all right, guys? But that's the way HadesOmega's been doing it. I just go really fast, and I throw it in there sideways, and I scrub a bunch of speed, and then when I get straight again, that's when I goose it again, all right? So HadesOmega needs to practice that. But yeah, I had a lot of fun, all right? That's a fun course. The asphalt course is really nice. I'm not a really big fan of that dirt section. I feel like it could be better, that's what I'm saying. But it's kind of like a flow track. You got to hit it at a certain rhythm, and when you're racing with somebody else, you kind of can't do that. All right, there's a lot of traffic. There's not a lot of places to pass. You're just kind of, you're kind of just stuck in there, and you can't go very fast because I don't want to hit anybody. That type of thing. All right. Yeah. So that's a scoop, guys. All right. So yeah, I think I got last on this. The E-Moto race I got first, but not really, all right? And I spent a shit ton of money this weekend, all right, guys? So it was $220 for the racing, $35 to camp, all right? So we'll call that $260. And then they made me pay $20 for a wristband, all right? The freaking the insurance wristband. They made everybody pay $20 for that. So they just nickel and dimed us big time, all right, guys? When they could have just included that in the race fees, you know? That's the way I see it, man. All right, but the silver lining was we got a free practice at the end of the day. All right, guys, we didn't have to pay for practice if we wanted to practice, and I did. All right, like I mentioned, I took one of Mike Metzger's Altus Sigmas out. All right, shout out to Mike Metzger. Thanks for letting me borrow your hammer so I could straighten my sprocket, and thanks for letting me ride your Altus Sigma. Check that video out. All right, HadesOmega takes the Altus Sigma out for a ride. All right, one of Mike Metzger's Altus Sigmas out. One of the ones I raced against. All right, I think it was the one that Grady Maple was riding, and I had a whole lot of fun with it. All right, it had about 60% charge, and it had like 30% charge when I brought it back. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. The Altus. So here's a quick review of the Altus. The Altus feels just like an Ultra B. All right. Well, I don't have a lot of seat time on the Ultra B, unfortunately, but I rode Zero XE recently. All right, and it feels just like the Zero XE. It's the same size. All right, it feels like the same size and everything, but I'm sure the Altus is faster. The Altus is like 22 kilowatts, and the XE is like 15 kilowatts. And yeah, it hauls. It's pretty fast. It feels more like a real motorcycle, I guess. The throttle is similar to like the Redshift, all right? Really smooth throttle. It doesn't really take off until you really, lay into it. Kind of like the Stark. The Stark is like the same thing. I think they did a good job with that bike. I really like it. The only thing is it's pretty heavy. It's much heavier than a Light B, and it's like putting out roughly the same power as my Light B. Okay, guys. So there's that. All right, guys. But I'm sure it's got a bigger battery. So it has a 96-volt battery. That's also another thing. So it's designed to handle more power. All right. Where this one, when you put more power into it, things start breaking. Okay. So there is that thing going on. All right, guys. So I had a great time riding it. Thanks, Mike. If you want to, hit up Mike Metzger on Instagram. All right, guys. I'll put a link in the description of the video. If you want to purchase an Altus Sigma, you can purchase one through Mike Metzger, and he'll get a little commission off of it. And he's talking about making some special edition bikes in the future, and Altus is going to come out with some newer bikes in the near future as well. All right, so he can probably hook you up with one. All right, guys. He might be able to get you a little discount too. All right, so if you buy it through him, all right, with this code or whatever, then you can you can help Mike out and you can get a discount. So there you go. There's your plug. There's your plug for Mike Metzger, right? And Mike Metzger's School of Moto. All right. Okay, and so that's it. All right, guys. I took Mike's bike out to ride. I had a good time, and then another thing about those bikes, the sprockets are teeny tiny, man. They're really small. All right, guys. versus my sprocket's like really big. Maybe I need a teeny tiny sprocket so I don't break them so often, right? I did take the light bee out. Oh, I took the Redshift and the light bee back out on the track. All right, I had a good time with both of them. I haven't had so much dirt time with the Redshift out there because I think they didn't have that new dirt section there when I rode it last time. I took the WR250 last time. All right, I took both of these bikes out and I wanted to burn. The battery that's in the bike right now. I wanted to burn off some power. It was at 100% charge. And I rode it until it shut off. All right, guys. It either overheated, or one of the cells got the charge went too low or something, and it didn't want to run anymore. Okay, but yeah, there it is. All right, so that is the fourth battery I brought, and I wound up not using it. Okay, okay. So now is the what could we do to improve in the future? All right, guys. Don't break a rear sprocket. So HadesOmega is going to try this sprocket again. All right, I'm gonna buy the Tusk sprocket. Hopefully it'll be stronger than the Warp 9. All right, I have no idea how I broke it. All right, guys. Maybe I crashed into somebody? I didn't know it. I'm not sure, man. I have no idea how it broke. The only thing I can think of is maybe I jumped the bike and maybe the chain might have come off for a little bit, and it came back on. And then when it came back on, it tweaked the thing. I never had a chain come off during the whole race. The chain is loose right now, though. I should probably tighten it. All right. So anyway, we've got a race next weekend. All right, guys, at Bakersfield for the final round of the Supermoto Championship. All right, put on by Pierce Bronson. All right, or Bronson Pierce. And yeah, so one more race, and that's the end of the race for this year. Things that we could do to improve is make sure your tire warmers are on, all right, or take it easy on the first lap. Like really, really take it easy. Don't just take off out of the gate like that. It's funny because I've done something similar to that, like that, on my ZR7. I was pulling out of a parking lot and I goosed it, and the back just spun out and it spit me off. Right, it's the exact same thing that happened, but this was pretty bad. It was. I did like a back roll and my bike just slid like 10 feet or something. Yeah, man, it was a pretty bad crash. Right, the light bee was the Redshift was okay. It's just, yeah, it's kind of beat up now. But I was able to ride it the rest of the day. So, and then yeah, we just got to fix that sprocket and we'll be good. Yeah, other than that, the bike performed pretty well. I got the new fork. No complaints about the new fork. I did dump the bike. And yeah, I dumped the bike in that last race, and it doesn't look like I misaligned the forks at all. So for its first time out, it did pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this forks. I'll be keeping an eye on the fork if it cracks this carbon fiber, man. I'm not 100% on carbon fiber, man. I won't say. Okay, so there's that. The race was pretty expensive. I don't know if I want to do it again. They're some pretty cool folks that produce these races. I want to say they're called Full Send Racing, all right, and they do electric unicycle and electric skateboard racing, all right, guys, and then they do the e-bike and the e-moto thing, all right, guys, and so they wanted to partner up with the e-bike guys, and then we have this whole big electric event, and I had a whole lot of fun. It's difficult racing against other electric bikes. The advantage you have over the gas bikes, you don't have it anymore. Okay, guys? And so they also did shorten the races for the e-bikes, so that's actually it's a good thing for the e-bikes, all right? You don't have to worry about running out of charge, and you don't have to worry about overheating, all right? So that was the good thing about this race. They knew about the limitations of e-bikes, and they shortened the race, right? Because when HadesOmega is racing against the gas bikes, I'm at the mercy of, when things overheat, all right, guys? I don't think I overheated anything during any of the races, all right? I think the hottest we got was like 170 on the motor, right? The motor can get up to like 250, right? So not even close. I did overheat the battery, but that was during the evening practice, okay, guys? And I was out there spinning laps. I was ripping out there, all right, guys? Yeah, so if you guys are if you got your bike handy with you and you're ever in near Perris, California, there's a track out there called Apex Karting, and it's a pretty cool track, all right? It's kind of expensive, is what I would say, because remember, they just charge you for everything, man. But yeah, I guess that's kind of like it is for everywhere else, all right? But But yeah, like I mentioned, it was pretty expensive. I think in the end, it wound up being like $280, almost close to $300 to do this race. And I have to drive all the way from San Jose to Perris. That's a long way. That's like a 7-hour drive. I had to put in probably like, I had to fill it like 2 or 3 times. So yeah, not good, man. So, but it was my first race at Apex, and it was my first electric supermoto race. All right. And I had a blast. I had a great time. I would have more fun if I didn't have all the bike problems, all right? Like me spinning out in the start, or me, or maybe bending the sprockets and all that stuff. Yeah, man. So, yeah. Hopefully we can fix those problems, all right? Well, we can definitely fix the cold tire problem with tire warmers, all right? Just make sure the tire warmers are working, all right? and then yeah, well, I will try the Tuss sprocket. All right, this is my old Tuss sprocket. I'm gonna buy a new one. All right, I'm gonna try the Tuss sprocket, and hopefully that won't bend. All right, but the next race we're not gonna have any jumps or anything. So I think we'll be okay. Okay, so cool deal. All right, so that's the AAR for the full send racing at Apex Karting in Perris, California on December 13th, 2025. All right. I would like to do it again. I'm hoping that the prices go down, man. It's kind of too expensive. They should have like if you race like 2 classes, you get a discount, all right? Or maybe I just race 1 class. Okay, maybe that's what I'll just do. I'll just race the Light V, man. That's what I might do, and it'll just be easier, you know. But we'll see. I'm hoping they'll lower the prices next year. I feel like at $100 a race it's too much. It should be like, I'm kind of used to like $70 a race, and then they don't nickel and dime you with the pay for camping, and then pay for a wristband, you know, that type of thing. Right? I do know there are race events that do that, man, but I don't like it. Okay, guys, the racing is already expensive already, and yeah, they just make it more expensive. That's my biggest complaint about the event. It was really expensive, all right, on the wallet, all right. Just to give you an idea how expensive it is, when we do bronzes races, yeah, it was like, I think it was $60 to race both of these bikes, all right, guys. And then you have to pay a $50. Yeah, they kind of do nickel and dime you a little bit. You have to pay $50 to the racetrack, so you can get the wristband, and so you can go see the show. But you get to watch a cool show, all right. That's not there's not that there wasn't a cool show to watch. I did enjoy watching the electric unicycles and the electric skateboards racing. All right, it was pretty cool stuff. All right, and they seem like they're having a whole lot of fun. All right, and it looks super dangerous. Okay, you thought motorcycles were dangerous, man, dude. The unicycles, dude, they're going so fast, dude. And if it just stops, you just fly off of it, man. So yeah, it could be bad. Okay, so that's the end of the AR. Thanks for watching. HadesOmega. Hopefully in the future, HadesOmega will do another race. I think they were saying they're going to do another race, but at a different racetrack. Okay, so I did see somebody do some of these electric races at Apple Valley. There's a kart track there. I've never been to Apple Valley. I'd like to do a race out there sometime. Okay, and also thanks to Mike Metzger for the hammer and letting me take one of his bikes out for a spin. All right, so he's a cool guy. All right, thanks for watching. HadesOmega.